Good morning and welcome to Leadership's Breaking News. The Commander-in-Chief of the Nigeria Armed Forces, President Bola Tinubu, has announced the passing of Lieutenant General Taoreed Abiodun Lagbaja, Chief of the Army Staff. He was aged 56. A statement by the presidency signed by Bayo Ananuga said Lagbaja passed away on Tuesday night in Lagos after a period of illness. Born on February 28, 1968, Lieutenant General Lagbaja was appointed Chief of Army Staff on June 19, 2023 by President Tinubu. His distinguished military career began when he enrolled in the Nigerian Defense Academy in 1987. On September 19, 1992, he was commissioned as a second lieutenant in the Nigerian Infantry Corps as a member of the 39th Regular Corps. Throughout his service, Lieutenant General Lagbaja demonstrated exceptional leadership and commitment, serving as a platoon commander in the 93 Battalion and the 72 Special Forces Battalion. He played pivotal roles in numerous internal security operations, including Operation Zaki in Benue State, Lafia Dole in Borno, Udoka in Southeast Nigeria, and Operation Forest Sanity across Kaduna and Niger States. An alumnus of the prestigious U.S. Army War College, he earned a master's degree in strategic studies, demonstrating his dedication to professional growth and excellence in military leadership. Lieutenant General Lagbaja is survived by his wife, Maria, and their 2 children. President Tinubu expresses his heartfelt condolences to the family and the Nigerian Armed Forces during this difficult time. He wishes Lieutenant General Lagbaja eternal peace and honors his significant contributions to the nation. The Special Advisor to the President, Information and Strategy, Onanuga, stated. That concludes the breaking news on Leadership Television. For more, log on to www.leadership.ng. Thanks for joining us. Good morning, welcome to another edition of your preferred Leadership Television Inside Nigeria. My name is Unifred, your host on the program. On today's edition of the program, we are just going to be looking at some select newspapers and their headline stories today, Wednesday, November 6, 2024. And of course, as usual, on the program, we will flag up with Nigeria's most influential leadership. Let's see what leadership is leading with. Still a developing story on the presidential poll taking place all the way in United States of America between the Republican candidate Donald Trump and the Democrat Kamala Harris. Of course, reports reaching says that Trump is poised to be declared the winner of the election. However, the votes continue. Let's see what leadership is leading with this Wednesday, still on US election. It's at the world waits with bated breath for poll results. US election, the world waits with bated breath for poll results. Trump-Harris tied amid high voter turnout. 82 million votes cast via mail. How election rules in key states may delay results, especially that's what is happening now. How election rules in key states may delay results. Underneath that, we have the pictures of the pardoned August 1 hashtag End Bad Governance protesters from Kano and Kaduna during their formal handover to respective governors at the presidential villa in Abuja yesterday. It should be recalled that President Bola Tinubu ordered the release of the minors and for them to be handed over to their respective governors. Still on leadership newspaper, 14.3 million people in Nigeria are drug users, according to the federal government. 14.3 million people in Nigeria are drug users. Court stops CBN orders from withholding Kano local government funds. National grid collapses ninth time in 10 months. INEC says we are fully prepared for Ondo election. Towards the business boss of leadership, we have court dismisses treason charges against protesters on those hashtag End Bad Governance protesters. Court dismisses treason charges against protesters. And on the business boss, forest crisis, man advocates patronage of local products. And above the masthead of leadership, 28 die in Niger bandit attack, Imo accident. Federal government reverses 18-year entry age for varsity. That also takes us to the page 3, where we have states and minimum wage talks. States and minimum wage talks. And from that stand, we move to the back page, where we have Wednesday column with Olufunke Baruwa. And today's column is on a life of impact in loving memory of Mrs. Modupe Temitope Dada, from 1976 to 2024. May the soul of the departed rest in peace. However, in quote, we can only truly honor the memory of Modupe by embodying the values she represented, by being compassionate, selfless, and loving, just as she was. Though she may no longer walk among us, her memory will be a guiding light in our lives. End quote. From the Wednesday column with Olufunke Baruwa, a life of impact in loving memory of Mrs. Modupe Temitope Dada. And that concludes the review of leadership newspaper today on this program. For more, log on to www.leadership.ng. From leadership, we have another paper on our menu, and that is Vanguard. Vanguard's main headline story says, hashtag End Bad Governance, why we release minors. Hashtag End Bad Governance, why we release minors, federal government. Drops case against 37 minors, 82 others as court strikes out charge. Minors facing trial released on compassionate ground, Shetima. Minors will be reintegrated, Governor Yusuf. Falana threatens to sue federal government if minors are not given education. Release minors need mental health support, experts. Protesters storm National Assembly over hardship. The story continues on page 6 of Vanguard. Reps query head minister over concession agreements, PPPS. Federal government reverses 18-year admission benchmark in tertiary institutions. Tinubu decorates acting COAS Oluyede with new rank. Why telecoms infrastructure must be protected, NCC NJI. And in sports, Super Falcons to tackle France Le Blues in friendly. And above the masthead of Vanguard, the regulation not licensed to blend off-spec products, Dangote tests Pinnacle Oil. The regulation not licensed to blend off-spec products, Dangote tests Pinnacle Oil. Again, National Grid collapses 4 times in 24 days. US presidential poll, Harris-Trump orbit about chances in King race. Why forfeited illicit arms pose serious security threat, NSA. That concludes the review of front headline stories today on Vanguard newspapers. For more, log on to the website of the paper, www.vanguardngr.com. From Vanguard, the next paper we have on our lineup today is Nigerian Tribune. Let's have Nigerian Tribune. Nigerian Tribune says federal government reverses 18-year age limit for admission into tertiary institutions. Minister hints on review of national education policy. Warns tertiary governing councils against floating extant rules. Beneath that, LASTMA officers set ablaze in Lagos. Of course, the viral video, there was a video of it that went viral yesterday. LASTMA officers set ablaze in Lagos. Oyebanji appoints Justice Ogumoye as acting chief judge. I'm satisfied with my achievements in 8 years, says Obaseki. Tinubu promotes acting chief of army staff Oluyede to lieutenant general. Why Tinubu's economic policy is more workable than Atiku's on mockery. And above this, we have hashtag end bad governance protest. Call strikes are treason charges against minors. IGP orders probe into their welfare in detention. Why Tinubu ordered their release, Shetima. Falana advises president to enroll them in schools. With that, we move to the stories above the masthead of Nigerian Tribune. Federal government moves to curtail negative net assets of 39 trillion naira. To enforce compliance, sanction erring MDAs, MOFI to register all federal government assets. Fear of post-election unrest in United States as tensions rise. That concludes front headline stories on Nigerian Tribune this Wednesday. And we move over to the next paper we have on our lineup today, and that is THISDAY. This day's newspaper headline says, "Go and see no more," Shetima tells all 119 protesters, including 29 minors, facing trial. Headline story on THISDAY newspaper. Go and see no more, Shetima tells all 119 protesters, including 29 minors, facing trial. And the kickers says they are released on compassionate ground, declares over 300 billion naira properties lost. Kano governor, you committed treason. You owe your lives to Tinubu's magnanimity. IG vows to implement recommendations of investigative report on prosecution of underage. And of course, we have the picture of the Army Chief Oluyede, the acting Army Chief, being decorated Lieutenant General by President Tinubu yesterday at the villa. And above that, Trump leading Harris in electoral college count. Harris sees narrowing possibilities. Trump leading Harris in electoral college count. Harris sees narrowing possibilities. The story just beneath the masthead of leadership of THISDAY newspaper, talking about the US election ongoing now with the count. Trump leading Harris in electoral college count. Harris sees narrowing possibilities. Just beneath the masthead, we have diaspora's indispensable assets to Nigeria, says Tinubu. And above the masthead of THISDAY, we have Dangote Refinery, deregulation not licensed to blend off-spec products. Deregulation not licensed to blend off-spec products. Insists Nigeria caught between industrialization or remaining dumping ground. We have US honors Davis Okundaye Buramo Onobrakmeya marks 50 years of artistic collaboration. This concludes the review of front headline stories today on THISDAY newspaper, and we move over to the next paper we have, or the last paper we have on our lineup today, and that is Punch newspaper. And for continuation of these headline stories and inside stories, log on to the website of THISDAY, www.thisdaylive.com. From THISDAY, we move over to the next and last paper on our lineup, and that is the Punch. The Punch says nationwide blackout as grid suffers 10th collapse in 2024. Nationwide blackout as grid suffers 10th collapse in 2024. Generation drops to 0 megawatts. 22 gencos affected nationwide. Partial power in southwest. Underneath that, just like we have in other papers, we have the pictures of the miners that were engaged in the hashtag End Bad Governance freed yesterday. Over 300 billion naira lost in protest. Shettima tells released hungry miners. Underneath that, stakeholders hail reversal of 18 years policy for varsity admissions. Lagos driver flees after setting LASTMA officer on fire. Sex tapes, Equatorial Guinea installs CCTV in offices, suspends officials. That takes us to the stories above the masthead of the Punch. Eyes on swing states as Harris-Trump battle for US presidency. The regulation is not licensed to blend low-quality products. Dangote. With that, we conclude review of front headline stories on the Punch newspaper. For more, log on to the website of the paper. And with that, also, we bring to an end today's Inside Nigeria. My name is Winifred Ugwebo. Don't forget to join us for another fresh edition of the program. Same time, same station tomorrow. Thanks for joining us.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast